Imagine spending 15 years as the invisible backbone of your family, only to discover they've been blind to your greatest achievements. What would you do if the moment you chose yourself over their demands exposed a truth so shocking it left a Fortune 500 CEO speechless and your family begging for forgiveness? This is the story of Emma Carter, who turned a lifetime of being dismissed into a masterclass in justice. In the heart of Chicago, where ambition hums like electricity, Emma Carter, 32, stood in her sleek two-bedroom condo, folding a business blazer into her suitcase. The city's skyline glittered beyond her floor-to-ceiling windows, a testament to the empire she'd built in silence. For 15 years, her wealthy parents, Helen and Thomas Carter, had treated her like a servant while her younger sister, Olivia, basked in their adoration. Every holiday, every family gathering, Emma was relegated to the kitchen, cooking and cleaning, while Olivia played the star. But on this chilly December evening in 2025, as Emma prepared for a life-changing business trip, a phone call from her mother pushed her to the edge. "Emma, cancel whatever silly plans you have for tomorrow." Helen's voice sliced through the phone, sharp and commanding, without a hint of warmth. "Olivia's hosting her networking group for Christmas Eve dinner. 25 guests, including executives from Apex Enterprises. You'll need to arrive by noon to start cooking. 7 main courses, 10 sides. The menu's already planned." Emma's fingers tightened around her phone, her gaze flickering to the plane ticket on her counter. "Flight 447 to Miami, 8 p.m. tomorrow." She'd heard this tone before, the one that assumed her life was an afterthought. "Mom, I have plans," she said, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside. Helen laughed, a sound that stung like frostbite. "Plans? Emma, Olivia's making connections that benefit this family. You should be grateful to help. It's not like you have anything else going on." Emma glanced at her laptop, where an email from Sophia Lynn, CEO of Apex Hospitality, glowed on the screen. If only her mother knew. For 5 years, Emma had built Prime Gatherings, a luxury catering company with 50 employees across 3 locations, serving clients from CEOs to celebrities. Tomorrow, she was set to secure a $2 million contract with Apex, a deal that would catapult her company to national prominence. But to her family, she was just Emma, the unemployed daughter who cooked. "Use the good china," Helen continued. "These are people who matter." The words landed like a slap. People who matter. Unlike Emma, apparently. "I'll text you the menu. Don't embarrass us." The line went dead. Emma's eyes fell to her plane ticket again. She'd spent 15 years swallowing her family's disdain, their assumption that she was between jobs, living off scraps in a tiny apartment. In reality, her condo overlooked Grant Park, paid for by her own success. Her childhood bedroom in their Westchester mansion had been turned into storage for Olivia's designer clothes, her trophies and books boxed up in the basement. "Olivia needs the space," Helen had said. "She's building her career. Image matters in PR." Meanwhile, Emma's existence was erased unless they needed her to cook. She opened her laptop, staring at the contract that would change everything. Prime Gatherings, embossed in gold, was her rebellion against their narrative. She'd started with $5,000 from waiting tables, built without a penny of family money or their Carter name. Her phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. "Mom says you're cooking tomorrow. Don't screw it up. Important people will be there." Emma's lips pressed into a thin line. Important people. Like Sophia Lynn, who'd unknowingly attended Emma's catered retreat for 500 guests last month. The irony was almost poetic. Sophia was one of the VIPs Olivia wanted to impress, yet Emma was the one meeting her in Miami to sign a multi-million-dollar deal. Another text from Helen. "Don't forget the truffle oil. These people have sophisticated palates." As if Emma didn't cater to sophisticated palates every day, she employed 3 executive chefs, had a James Beard Award nomination, and was featured in Hospitality Quarterly as the quiet revolutionary of luxury catering. Yet her family had never asked what she did. Not once. The deepest cut was their indifference. At Olivia's engagement party, Helen had laughed when a guest asked about Emma's work. Emma doesn't have Olivia's social skills, but she cooks well. The memory burned. Emma pulled out a notepad and jotted down 3 emergency catering services with 24-hour hotlines. She wasn't heartless. She'd leave the numbers on her counter just in case. But she was done being their servant. Her phone lit up with a calendar reminder. Apex Hospitality Pre-Meeting Dinner, Deck 25, 7 p.m. The $2 million contract wasn't just money. It was security for her 50 employees. Lydia, her head chef, who'd just put an offer on a house. Michael, her operations manager, planning to move his kids to better schools. This was their dream too. Another email from Helen arrived, detailing the Christmas Eve menu with military precision. 7 mains, 10 sides, dietary restrictions, wine pairings, Waterford Crystal. And there, buried in the guest list, was Sophia Lynn's name. Emma's heart raced. The CEO she was meeting in Miami would be at her parents' house expecting a meal from the unemployed daughter. A text from Olivia followed. Mom says Sophia Lynn will be there. She's huge in hospitality. Don't embarrass me with your amateur cooking. Amateur. Emma had catered Sophia's retreat flawlessly, though they'd never met in person. Her phone pinged again. Her assistant. Forbes wants to feature you in their 40 Under 40. They're interested in your story of building prime gatherings without family support. Emma typed back. Tell them it runs Deck 27. Perfect timing. By then, the contract would be signed, and her family would learn the truth with the world. She looked at her plane ticket, then the menu, then the contract. The choice was clear. She dialed Helen. Emma, finally, her mother snapped. I was starting to worry you weren't taking this seriously. Mom, I can't do it. I have a business trip. I'm flying to Miami tonight. Silence. Then, what possible business could you have? An important meeting? Helen laughed, cruel and dismissive. Emma, stop being selfish. Olivia needs this. Olivia has a full catering team she could hire. With what money? Do you know how expensive that is? The irony nearly made Emma laugh. Family comes first, Helen said. Or are you too selfish to understand that? I understand perfectly. Family comes first when you need something from me. How dare you? When's the last time you asked about my life, Mom? We know about your life. You're between jobs, living in that tiny apartment. I'm a CEO. Another laugh, sharper. A CEO of what? Your imaginary company? I have 50 employees. Enough with the fantasies. You owe us. I owe you? You raised me, fed me, and treated me like hired help. You're being dramatic. What else do you have to do? Sit alone in your apartment on Christmas? Emma glanced at her business class ticket. I have a flight at 8 p.m. Cancel it. No. If you leave, don't bother coming back. The threat, so familiar, usually worked. Not this time. Then this is goodbye, Emma said softly. You can't be serious. I'm done being invisible until you need something. You ungrateful... Emma hung up, her hands trembling, not with fear, but with freedom. Olivia's texts flooded in. What did you just do? Mom's having a meltdown. Emma turned off her phone, placed the catering numbers on her counter next to her Prime Gatherings business card, and zipped her suitcase. They'd figure it out. They always did when forced to. The plane lifted off from O'Hare at 8:07 p.m., and Emma exhaled. Below, Westchester faded into a blur of lights. Her family was probably frantic, painting her as the ungrateful daughter who ruined Christmas. She opened her laptop, reviewing the Apex contract. Clause 15.3. CEO presence required. Sophia had insisted on it, valuing hands-on leadership. An email from her PR manager popped up. Forbes moved you to the cover story. Hits newsstands Deck 27. The headline read, From Invisible to Invaluable, How Emma Carter Built a Catering Empire Without Family Money. The universe, it seemed, had a flair for timing. The Apex Resort Suite in Miami was breathtaking. Ocean views, champagne on ice, a note from Sophia Lynn. "Welcome, Ms. Carter. Looking forward to our partnership." Emma's phone showed 47 missed calls from Helen, 18 from Olivia, 3 from her father. She deleted the voicemails and prepared for the 7 p.m. pre-meeting dinner. Meanwhile, in Westchester, chaos unfolded. Olivia's texts painted a vivid picture. By 6 p.m., Helen realized Emma wasn't coming. The kitchen was empty, the fridge barely stocked. At 7 p.m., 25 guests, including Sophia Lynn, arrived, expecting an elaborate dinner. By 7:23 p.m., Olivia texted, "Mom's losing it. She's calling every restaurant. Everything's closed." At 7:47 p.m., "Mom's blaming you, saying you're unreliable." By 8 p.m., 5 Papa John's and 3 Domino's pizzas arrived, served on Waterford crystal. Helen, who'd bragged about her daughter's cooking, was humiliated. Olivia's text at 9:33 p.m. "Party's over. Sophia left early. Mom says you're dead to her." Emma ordered room service breakfast, unfazed. In 3 hours, she'd meet Sophia. Would she mention the disaster? Would she connect the Carter names? At 7 p.m., Emma, in her sharpest suit, greeted Sophia at the resort's restaurant. Sophia looked tired but smiled warmly. "Emma, I apologize for being late. I just flew in from the most bizarre Christmas Eve party in Westchester." Emma's heart stayed steady. "What happened?" "You won't believe this. The hostess, Helen Carter, same last name as you, funny coincidence, promised an elaborate meal by her daughter. We arrived to find no food, just chaos. They ordered pizza." Sophia shook her head. Helen spent the evening bad-mouthing her older daughter, calling her unreliable, mentally unstable, a disappointment. Apparently she was supposed to cook but disappeared. Emma nodded, silent. "The younger daughter, Olivia, tried to pitch me PR services while serving Papa John's on china worth thousands. It was the most unprofessional evening I've ever experienced." Sophia opened her menu. "Now, let's discuss your incredible company." The next morning, December 26th, Emma stood in Apex's boardroom, her presentation flawless. The $2 million contract was on the table. Then Sophia's assistant rushed in with an iPad. "Ms. Lynn, there's a photo from that Westchester party going viral on LinkedIn." Sophia's face shifted from curiosity to shock as she saw a Thanksgiving photo from Helen's house, Emma in the background barely visible, while Olivia posed with their parents. "Emma, is this you?" "Yes." "Helen Carter is your mother?" "Yes." The room went silent. "The woman who called you unemployable is your mother?" "She doesn't know about Prime gatherings. She never asked." Sophia pulled up Google, her eyes widening at Emma's Hospitality Quarterly feature, James Beard nomination, and Wall Street Journal article. "Your family has no idea you run a multi-million-dollar company? They think I'm unemployed, living in a studio apartment." Sophia laughed, a genuine disbelieving sound. "She called you a failure while you were building an empire." Her assistant interrupted. "Forbes just announced their 40 under 40 cover story." Emma's professional headshot filled the screen, the headline blazing, "From invisible to invaluable." Sophia read aloud. "Carter, 32, built Prime gatherings from a $5,000 investment, deliberately avoiding family connections." She looked at Emma. "This goes live tonight. Your family still doesn't know. They'll find out with everyone else." Sophia stepped out, returning with a strange smile. "I just called Helen Carter. I told her I was disappointed in last night's event and taking my business elsewhere. She blamed her older daughter. Then I told her I'd signed a $2 million contract with her daughter, Emma Carter, CEO of Prime Gatherings." Emma's phone lit up with 47 missed calls from Helen. "She hung up on me," Sophia said, grinning. "Let's sign this contract." As Emma signed, texts flooded in. Helen, "Answer now." Olivia, "Is this a sick joke?" Thomas. Your mother fainted. What is Prime Gatherings? Sophia took a photo of Emma with the contract and Apex's team, posting it on LinkedIn. Thrilled to announce our $2 million partnership with Prime Gatherings and their brilliant CEO, Emma Carter, who built her empire from scratch. She tagged Helen Carter. Within minutes, the post exploded with likes and comments from industry leaders. Emma's phone rang. Olivia, on speaker. You've been a CEO for 5 years? Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. You assumed I was a failure. Mom's having a breakdown. Everyone saw Sophia's post. That's not my problem. How can you be so cold? I'm done being invisible, Olivia. Call me when you're ready to meet Emma Carter, the CEO. Emma hung up. Sophia raised a champagne glass. To boundaries. They toasted, and Emma felt truly seen. That evening, Helen called, sobbing. How could you humiliate us? Sophia told everyone about your company. You never asked about my life, Mom. You assumed I was a failure. We knew you cooked. You thought I was unemployed. I tried telling you about my clients, but you pivoted to Olivia's energy drink campaign. Silence. I left catering numbers on my counter. You could have saved the party. We don't have keys to your apartment. We don't even know where you live. Because you never asked. Emma, we're family. Family doesn't treat each other like servants. The Forbes article comes out tonight. It says you built your company without us. That's my truth. You've destroyed us. No, Mom. I've built my life. Emma hung up, lighter than ever. The social fallout was swift. Olivia's PR firm lost Apex's $500,000 contract. Helen was removed from her charity board. Thomas's golf buddies mocked him for not knowing his daughter was a millionaire. The Forbes article went viral. Its quote damning. My family assumed I was unemployed. It was easier to build an empire in silence than fight their assumptions. Emma's life soared. Prime Gatherings received 200 inquiries post-Forbes. Sophia introduced her to new clients, securing $10 million in contracts. Emma hired 20 more employees, promoting Lydia and Michael. The Food Network aired a documentary, Invisible to Invaluable, the Emma Carter story. Northwestern invited her to speak on Building Success Without Permission. 3 months later, Emma met her family at a Chicago restaurant. They looked diminished. She laid out her terms: equal respect, no servant treatment, public acknowledgement, genuine apologies, therapy. Helen cried. We've lost everything. That's not my responsibility, Emma said. Olivia admitted her jealousy. You were always better, but Mom made me feel special by making you small. Thomas confessed his complicity. We created a story where you were the failure. We were blind. 6 months later, Emma hosted a family dinner in her condo, catered by Prime Gatherings. She no longer cooked for them, a boundary set in stone. Helen had publicly apologized, Olivia submitted a PR proposal, and Thomas introduced Emma with pride. But the real change was Emma. She no longer hid her light. With 100 employees and 5 locations, she'd built an empire on her terms. Every morning she looked in the mirror. I'm Emma Carter, CEO, not the family servant. Never again.